And welcome to Education, Leadership, and Beyond, Surviving and Thriving. My name is Andrew Murata, host of the show, and it is show number 209. A warm welcome to our live listening and viewing audience. Proud member of the Education Podcast Network, VoiceEd Radio Canada, iTunes, or wherever you are consuming your podcast. We are pumped to be on show number 209. And it's not often I've worn a baseball hat on the podcast here, but I'm excited to tell the story. This is University of West Florida, and we are going to meet the president today, Dr. Martha Saunders. She is the president of the university, and she is joining us. And I found a hat up here in New York. So that means University of West Florida must be coming up here, creeping up here to New York. They are the Argonauts. She's an amazing leader. She's doing some great things there. So I'm excited for you to meet her very shortly. You don't keep the president waiting long, so I'll be very brief. I do want to thank today's sponsor. It's a holiday weekend. It's Memorial Weekend. What a great time to order some cookies. Halvesies Cookies. My friend David Maffei, his wife, beautiful family. Check them out. That discount code Murata15 will get you a 15% discount. Halvesies Cookies. Dr. Saunders, we're going to send you some down there to West Florida. But check them out. They're a small business. They ship around the country. Discount code Murata15. And they are fantastic. And they are literally half of cookies, but they are the best cookies you will ever have. So we're going to get some of those to Dr. Saunders. Check out that discount code Murata15. I do want to start with a very serious topic, and that is what happened in Texas. Uvalde, Texas, a school shooting, another school shooting. And I've had it. We've all had it. And I'm going to take action. We're taking action. It's enough. We cannot have this anymore. It's unfathomable. We cannot have it. And I have so many thoughts on it, but and we're going to talk a little bit with Dr. Saunders about that. But so many things have to be done, and we got to start with these assault rifles. I don't want to get into a thing about the Second Amendment and the guns, right? Sure, but we can't have those types. Okay, enough. And yes, we have to address some mental health things, and yes, security and all of those things. But those guns are killers, right? I read an article about a regular bullet wound and what it does, and what an AK-47 semi-automatic rifle does to organs in the body. And we cannot have that anymore. My heart goes out to that district, that community, those families that lost their children. I can't imagine. So as an educator, as a leader here, we've all had it, and we need to come together as a country, as education leaders, as politics. This can't happen anymore. So please, if you're listening, let's get together and get this done. Okay. Enough of me talking. Let's bring in the president, Dr. Saunders. So nice of her to join us here on Education, Leadership, and Beyond. And here she is, Dr. Saunders. Welcome to the program.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Well, we are glad to have you. It is not often that you can have a college president, university president on the show. So it's an honor, Doc. And how the heck did an Argonauts hat get up here to New York? How'd that happen?
We get around.
That's right. You're not just in West Florida. You are everywhere. This is Dr. Saunders. Doctor, for our listening audience here, give a brief introduction. I know we'll get to know you on the show, but tell us a little bit about yourself to start us off.
Well, I am the 6th president at University of West Florida. This is my 3rd presidency.
Wow.
I was here for many years as a faculty member, went off on a grand adventure, professional adventure, and thought I had retired. And then got this opportunity to serve as president at a place I love. And so I'm back, and this is the labor of love.
Yeah. And it is in a beautiful part of the country. If you're not familiar with the Panhandle in Florida, Pensacola area, right? How far is it, like on the beach, Doc? Is it like right there? Is it pretty close? Like, how far from the beach are you guys?
Oh, we're right here.
You're right there.
So,
Wow.
and the most beautiful beaches in the world. And I'm kind of a collector of beaches and gorgeous, uh, white sand, squeaky sand, uh, lots of seafood, lots of good fishing, water sports, whatever you like to do.
It really is. And I agree with you about the beaches. Doc, you heard my opening statement. I know we talked a little bit off air. And as a university president, this touches all of us. But what did that mean to you, and your thoughts on that topic and that tragedy down there in Texas?
Well, I think we all feel so helpless. And you think what worries me most, and it seems like everyone I've run into the last couple of days, this is all the topics that there is. Uh, but what people are saying is just what you said, enough is enough. And enough of arguing over individual points. It's a complicated issue. It is not a single solution to fixing this, but we are sacrificing in our children, and it's time to quit.
Yeah.
And I'm for one will do whatever it takes to make it stop.
Yeah. And unfortunately, it's touched the world of college and university as well. And, certainly Virginia Tech comes to mind, but it's happened in colleges. Is that something that you talk a lot with your leaders and your students in there about a plan if, God forbid, came your
We
direction?
do. College campuses are in many ways very vulnerable. We're big, lots and lots of people around, and but we talk about it a lot. We do tabletop exercises to make sure we're ready. But at the end of the day, we also just we we try to encourage individual responsibility. Where are you? What would you do if something happened in this room or in a different room?
Yeah.
Uh, and just keep mindfulness. We're a very secure campus, but anything can happen. So,
Yeah. Well, our thoughts certainly go to Texas and that community there. But I want to talk to you, Doc, about your journey and certainly University of West Florida. President since 2017. You oversaw the 50th anniversary, the 50th graduating class there. Tell me about some of your initiatives. Right, there's a lot of things you want to accomplish, but what are two or three things top of mind for you right now as president?
well, you always want to move your university forward. They're the standard measures of enrollment and quality programming and that. But specifically here, we have attempted to leverage the assets of the university, the strengths of the university, with the strengths of the region. So we're putting programming together that
Mm,
makes sense for the region. Cybersecurity, for example, we have a huge military presence here, and that's a perfect match. We've started a doctorate program with a research institute here. Perfect match. And you end up with something that's greater than the sum of your parts.
mm. Yeah, well, and the
We
area,
also,
the area is so unique. It's so beautiful. What a great, that's a great thing there for you. Um,
and speaking of the area, we have a 1,600-acre campus,
ah,
and it's more like a park than a traditional campus. And so we're spending a lot of time utilizing that campus as a community resource. We want people here. We want them to come ride their bikes and walk their dogs and be a part of the campus, even if they're not students. So,
that's a nice mindset there. Doc, I start my day. There's kids everywhere. The bell rings. They go to class. It's very structured. What does a day for a college president look like? What does that look like for you? A typical day.
mine starts early. I'm up at 4 and answering emails, reading papers, but I walk at 5 with my husband, and we go for a long walk because I usually lose control of my day about that time.
Yeah.
And lots of meetings. I tell people this is a great job for someone with a short attention span because something's going to change. So, meetings, community events, meeting with students, raising money,
Mhm.
begging for money, uh,
And how
managing money.
and how much of your schedule do you direct, or you got your secretary and you got your assistant saying, how much do you control the schedule?
That may be the hardest thing for me is that I don't control much of it.
Yeah.
Uh, there are times I look at my calendar and hyperventilate. Oh, I can't do all this.
Yeah.
But, I do approve, but everything's important. Uh, and so I need to have a lot of energy and take my vitamins and go.
And you mentioned about 4 a.m. I'm an early riser. I just read The Miracle Morning. I loved it. I don't know if you ever heard.
Oh,
Fantastic.
no.
Yeah, The Miracle
Right now.
Morning. Great. And the 5 a.m. club. But you're up at 4. You're working. So tell me then how that leads to work. You walk, and then now are you eating breakfast later?
I,
Tell me the rest
I'm
of your morning
drinking
until you get to the
coffee.
school.
I, I'm drinking coffee, open the laptop, look at emails to see if anything popped up overnight, start reading papers, blogs, uh, things that are, our routine
Yeah. Yeah.
reviews, look at Facebook, see what my kids are doing, and, just sort of make sure I've done all that. Play Wordle now. Uh, it's a good day if I solve the Wordle puzzle before I go for my walk. So,
I love it. I
and then I'll
love it.
leave.
And then so you and your husband, you're power walking, you're moving.
We walk for about an hour.
That's beautiful.
Now we don't walk all that fast because I live at the beach, and so I'm looking at things and turtle nests and what the water's doing and things like. We pick up trash too. We
Beautiful.
bring little trash bags and pick up trash, trying to be good citizens.
Now, so to be a morning leader, that means you have to wind down your nights, right? How do you decompress? How do you get away from the electronics
Yeah,
to get
yeah.
into bed? How do you do that? Tell me about winding down your night.
It doesn't take much for me. When I stop, I'm gone. And so, unless if I've been like giving a speech, then I get all wound up. I read a lot, so whatever I'm reading, I read and then I'm out. I
Yeah.
sleep very well.
Good. Well, you got a full day there. Tell me about your style, Doc. Some people rule with an iron fist. Some people are, scowling at people. Other people letting them walk all over you. How do you find that balance between being a demanding leader? I mean, just the term president, it's like whoa, it's like wow. Tell me about your style as a leader.
Well, I have a good team, and I have a small team, a relatively small cabinet, and they have a lot of responsibility. And so I work with them. They know what they're supposed to do. I trust them, and we communicate daily. Uh, and I like to say I'm an inclusive leader. I work hardest at that. We're a complicated place, and we have students, or I mean, we have decisions to make. Uh, it pays for me to get as far ahead of that as I can, uh, so that I can get the right people around the table.
Mhm.
That's what matters.
Yeah.
Uh, and I don't have all the answers, and most days I don't have any. So, but I can be pretty authoritarian, uh, especially in a crisis, in
Hmm.
crunch times.
Hmm.
People expect the president to step up and say, "Here's what we're going to do."
Yes,
They want,
they
and
want that.
pandemic was an example of that.
Yeah. Well, that's cool, Doc. How about a time where there was something going on? You said, I'm getting involved with that, whether it was with a staff member, a financial problem, whether it was a student, right? Was there a time where you saw something you said and you directly inserted yourself and then you were happy with the outcome? Is there something that jumps out at you?
Almost every day. I think there are times when I need to be hands-on. Uh, uh, a crisis, yeah, you can have a personnel situation, someone gets sick or disappears, and that's when I'll move in. Um, and it almost always turns out okay. I, I don't, I don't think I meddle, uh, but when it's time for some help, I'm in there to help, and so it turns out pretty well.
Yeah.
So.
And it's all right. Sometimes you just got to jump in. Doc, at the college level, you would think it doesn't happen, but like you've even heard stuff at like Harvard and MIT, and it's like, academic fraud, academic, infidelity, right? Is that something that your teachers talk to the kids about? Is it like you don't use the C word like cheating or copying, but like I'm in a middle school, right? You're at a university, but you don't want that to happen. How do you address that at that level? Because you've seen it happen even at, like I said, the Ivy League.
We're serious about it,
Yeah.
and it's on every syllabus that here's what constitutes academic fraud, and here's what plagiarism looks like.
Mm,
And if it comes forward, then we have a process and we adjudicate it and we take it seriously. So,
yeah,
and they know that. But we are educators too,
sure.
and our job is to say this is how you're supposed to do things and maintain that. And sometimes they don't know.
It's a shame, but yeah, that's good. And it's good that it's out there, right? And you're in front of that. How about you, Doc? You're the president. Again, busy meetings, things happen. Where do you look for inspiration? And, and like, how do you know when you found it?
Well, I love people. I talk to people. I talk to a lot of other presidents. I meet every week with the other presidents in the state,
Oh, wow.
and I'm always inspired by something they've done, or I'm always copying something they've done.
Yeah,
I'm happy to emulate them.
absolutely.
Uh, but you see, successes, I think, we can do that here and bring it in. But I also walk out in nature. Uh, this big campus is a beautiful place just to walk around. If you're having a tough day, uh, you go down the nature trails, you walk around, you see the trees, and things get back in perspective.
Yeah. Nature, when you bring that quiet, really does, have some inspiration. I had an experience a couple of weeks ago. We got rail trails here in New York, old railroads,
Yeah.
um, and it was just as loudest the frogs, I don't know what you call it, whatever the spawning, and they were just so loud, and I was like, but it got me thinking about what's calling me, right? What's calling? But you gotta be able to listen. If I had earbuds in, I wouldn't have
Mhm.
heard it. So I agree with you. Nature brings that out. Um,
I belong to a group of women. It's a Facebook group, and we call ourselves the Soul Sister Ramblers. Soul, like the sole of the shoe, and we work. We've cultivated the fine art of the ramble. We're not. We're just go out and walk. You don't know where you're going. Uh,
yeah,
we don't have a map. We don't have a plan. You're just going to see what you can see. And I love to read their posts. Some live in Australia, some live in Vancouver, uh, and I'm in Florida. And I take pictures and say, "Look what I saw today. Look what I found today." And
yeah.
it's a wonderful restorative thing to do.
Beautiful. That's a fun group there, Doc. A
It is.
couple of years ago, Doc, you just celebrated the 50th anniversary. That's a big deal. You also led the University of West Florida, from the bottom of the governor's board, to the top and the metrics there. Tell me about those two big milestones there, and what were some of the hurdles along the way?
Well, the 50th anniversary gave us a great opportunity to first look back on what we've done, what we've accomplished, celebrate those good achievements, but then to really pause and say, so what do we do for the next 50? And that's where we concluded that we wanted uh, to leverage, our assets against those of the region, that we wanted to be a destination for the community. And that was a good outcome, and it's working for us.
Yeah.
And then as far as the metrics, we didn't like being on the bottom. And so it's kind of all in where you set your sights. I organized what we call the war room. We met every week, and we started examining the data. We got better at the data. The more you know, the more you can spot anomalies, the more you can fix. And the next thing we knew, we were at the top. So, but you set your sights to do it, and
Yeah.
that's
And you were holding the compass there. So, specifically, like, what was an area of need that you saw? And then what were some of the things you did to try to correct that?
much of it was uh, information.
Yeah.
We had just converted to a different student data
Hmm.
system.
Hmm.
Up until that time, we just had legacy systems. They couldn't talk to each other. So it was hard to track a student. And we got better at that. That was probably the key. It helped us identify the vulnerabilities. We're a very transient area here
Hmm.
with all the military. And so if students aren't staying, is that because they just don't want to stay in one place, or are we not keeping them? So we really focused on retention. We bore down on graduation rate, but we really also wanted to make sure we have a good handoff for students when they leave us.
Yeah.
So we scored number one in the state last year for students employed, percentage of graduates employed a year after college. And that's, that's a quality measure.
Yeah.
That tells me people want our graduates. So,
That's a great stat there. And if you're a kid going there, you know you're gonna you got a good chance to get love is athletics. And I'm a new fan now. The Argonauts Division Two. Tell me about the importance of athletics at your university.
well, this is the South, so athletics is real important. But
Yeah.
it, and you read sometimes you read negative things about college athletics, but it is the window to the institution. We track our publicity,
Hmm.
and we say, okay, we got so many stories, and the bulk of them are often athletics.
Yeah.
So people are reading about our football team, but they're also hearing about the university. So it's kind of the front porch of the university, and it gets us attention. It also is a part of student life, going to games. A football game brings alums and community members and students together, unlike anything. There's no other event that would bring that many people together.
Yeah.
And so it gives you a chance to uh, have fellowship, enjoy a game. We've only had our football team 7 years. We've been to the national championship twice, and we won the national championship in 19.
For
I
Division
like
Two.
to win.
For Division Two.
Yep,
Wow. That's a big deal.
it is a big deal.
Yeah. Wow. How did you grow so fast? I mean, I know Florida football is, but how did you grow so fast if you only had your team 7 years?
Well, I would love to say I did something. You hire the right coach.
Yeah.
Uh, we hired a coach, his name's Pete Shinnick, and he built built the program. He had done that before at another school. And then I have a great athletic director, but we also have a culture. For as old as the university is, a winning culture across. all sports, not just one. And it permeates the institution. So football was the last thing we added, and we were ready for it. Students are real excited about it. They really like to win the championship.
Yeah. Yeah. And tell me about that. You mentioned about the publicity. And tell me about the branding and like the gear and is that something that you speak to the athletic director about that you want more swag stores and like how much interaction are you having with the athletic director to drive that?
Well, we work together, and with the CFO, uh, we have a bookstore here that has a fan shop. We get more and more people further and further away, like New York, that want our swag, and we make sure they provide it, that we
Yeah.
provide it for them. So I have a son in California. He wears UWF T-shirts, and he says he runs into people all the time that say, "I know that school."
Ah, that's cool. Doc, some of these sports are revenue producing sports. And really, you think about Florida football and you think about some of those, the Florida States, the Miamis, the University of Florida, like those are mega money producing things. How do you balance, revenue producing sports, Title IX, and opportunities for kids, right? Because, men's water polo is not bringing in money, but a championship football team is going to bring some dollars to your university.
Well, you said the right word. It's about balance, but also our motto at athletics is building champions for life,
Mm.
and that's not just a slogan. We know most of our student athletes are not going to play professionally. Some will, a lot do, but we're giving them a great education, a great experience to be a part of a winning team, understand what it takes to be a winning team, and hand them off to the next chapter of their lives. So and it's not all about athletics. It's we do, for example, many of our teams go postseason either after in December or in the spring. We do a special graduation service just for them
Mm.
because they won't be able to come to graduation. And I tell them, I said, you've done us proud. You've won a lot of recognition, but the prize that's most valuable is the one I'm about to give you now. And that is your diploma for the University of West Florida. And that's what matters. And I think the the horse is before the cart.
Yeah.
And I think that contributes to the culture.
Hmm. Awesome stuff. That's a great idea about that graduation.
It's cool. It's a
Yeah.
neat thing to do.
Doc, we're coming out of the pandemic, here at the secondary level, they're talking about learning gap. You being on the receiving end of our students, right, our high school students, what are some things that you're hearing from your professors? Are they seeing those gaps? Are they seeing some differences that these kids socially, mentally, emotionally that they went through this pandemic?
Well, I think the jury's still out. I think we'll have to see how they perform on licensing exams, how they perform on entrance exams. But I'm not hearing great concern that there's a huge learning gap. What I am hearing is that our students have been living in kind of a bubble for a
Mm.
while,
Yeah.
and they're anxious. They're anxious about getting back out, and uh, it's surprising because you think, golly, college students know how to hang, but there is some anxiety, especially if they were a high school senior when COVID hit and they got locked down. Then their whole freshman year of college, they were in a bubble. And so they're just now kind of getting out, and so there's a little bit of anxiety there. We're organizing more just informal get-togethers.
Yeah.
Let's all, feed college students. They will come. All right, we're cooking hot dogs on the green. Come on. Uh,
Nice.
them opportunities to visit with each other. So
Yeah.
I think small things.
And if you could package up, an immunization, a pill, and you could say, I want every freshman to have, 1, 2, and 3, or A, B, and C. What would be 1 or 2 things that every freshman coming through your door that you say, I wish they had, or I hope they will have? Give me 2 things there. What would you say?
Well, I hope they can get themselves up in the morning and get to class. That's important.
8
Doing their
a.m.
own
class.
laundry matters.
Yeah.
Managing finances. Some of them have never had to think to stretch their dollars for 4 months, and those are basic skills that I hope every parent gives them. But when they come to me, I want them to have a purpose, and I ask them. I say, "Why are you here?" And they need an answer, and it needs to be more than to to get a job. It needs to be, I want to have a house. I want to have a family. I want to travel and see the world. That's why I'm getting an education. The more they can visualize that, the better they're going to do, because it's hard. College is hard. There's a lot of change going on, and heartache, and uh, challenges, and scary stuff. And if they have that vision, this is what I'm going to have, they will weather it better.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what I want.
It's not as hard if you have that why.
No, that's right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the point.
I tell you, Doc, I remember I had a bad question when I was young. I don't remember much, but I remember my freshman year in North Carolina, and I was on a basketball team. It was after the season. It was a beautiful spring in North Carolina. And I was like, I'm not going to this class. I'm tired. I'm not going. I'm going to go, throw the Frisbee on the green, as you said.
Yeah, yeah.
And a senior on the team said, where you going? We were in the same class. He said, yeah. I said, I'm not going to class. And he turned around and he grabbed me by the shoulder. He said, your parents paid for you to get down here. You're going to class. You don't miss class.
Yeah.
And I never missed another class after that. And that mentorship, that importance, it had such an impact on me. I never missed another class, and you hope that those leaders, that those role models are on your campus to kind of build that culture,
And they are. And just your story alone, it took that guy 3 seconds to turn you around.
Yeah.
And it's all it takes. It doesn't have to be formal or a class. It's just people caring about each other's success.
Yeah. And here I am 25 years later telling that story.
Yeah, there you are. Imagine what would have happened if
Yeah.
you'd gone and played Frisbee. You could have been in it somewhere, couldn't you?
Nothing good, that's for sure. What was something I didn't ask you that you wanted to talk about?
Oh, golly. You ask good questions. I think, one thing I would want to tell any person going into leadership is ask for help. I think there's a lot of people out there that want you to be successful. And I see a lot of young leaders that they don't want people to know that they don't have all the answers. Well, none of us does.
Yeah.
And ask for help.
That's a great point, and it's true, right? I like that picture about the arrow. It's straight and it says success, and then there's a squiggly arrow all crumpled up. And this is what it really looks
It's
like.
reality.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, here, and you're doing all this stuff when you were retired, right? You failed at retirement. Look at you now.
I have failed at retirement. Yeah. And this is a labor of love. This is a labor of love. And we're having a grand time. I hope when I'm not needed here, I'll go back and teach a while. So I'd like to.
What did you teach while you were there?
Communication. I taught mainly public relations courses, all the writing courses because they're hard. And some graduate crisis communication in the graduate level.
Yeah. Cool. Well, let's roll to rapid fire. I know you're an hour behind us here on the East Coast, but it's almost 5 here. It's a long holiday weekend, so let's get to it. These are rapid fire, Doc. Quickest answer comes to your mind. Are you ready?
Okay.
Here we go. Last book you read.
The Sentence
You
by
recommend it?
Louise Erdrich.
You recommend it?
Yeah. Yes, good. Good.
Okay.
She's a Pulitzer winner for a different book, but it was really good.
All leaders are readers. Last movie you saw?
We saw the remake of West Side Story last week.
Oh,
It's pretty good.
very nice. What's your favorite dish? You got a wonderful seafood in that area. What's your favorite dish?
Anything with shrimp in it, pretty much.
There you go. You can have shrimp for 3 meals a day down there
We can.
because
We can. We're
it is the
spoiled.
South too. Yeah, yeah. Um, you mentioned the Rambling group, the Soul Sisters. Where is your favorite place to travel?
I don't have the Earth. The Earth.
That's a small
Yeah.
little.
Small place, and we travel a lot.
Wow, that's great. Has there been a memorable? Give me one or two highlights. Give me when we
Well,
visited.
I had a significant birthday a while back, and my husband organized this trip that we had talked about
Your
forever.
30th, just 5 years
Yeah,
ago, right?
yeah, right.
Yeah.
We did the Orient Express from Paris to Venice, and then we flew to Malta, which I have always wanted to see, and it was wonderful. So that was a great one.
The world is a small place. That's
It,
awesome. You mentioned about reading in the morning. What's a journal or a blog you subscribe to?
uh, several. I like Ozan Baral. He does a lot of writing about uh, organizational stuff and leadership and taking care of yourself while you're leading an organization. So getting people to do things.
That's the key. That's one of the keys of the job, taking care of yourself,
Yeah,
isn't
yeah, it
it?
is.
Dang right. Don't give me walking on the beach because I know that's number one. But what's another stress reliever you got?
Oh, if it's not walking anywhere, um, I'll call somebody. I'll call a family member. We've got a big family, and
Oh,
it's amazing. My head may be spinning, but then I'll call my sister, and everything different,
oh,
better.
what a nice answer. How about a pet peeve of yours? What's something that gets under your skin?
Oh, well, I don't want you to think I'm small, but uh, we live in a tourist area, and they clog up the grocery stores. And, so you're trying to get your cart around, and they're like 9 deep
Yeah.
talking about what they want to have for breakfast. And I say, just make a list and get out.
Get your Instacart. Stop being in the grocery store when you're on
I,
vacation.
well, I mean, they're on vacation, they're having a grand time, and some of us are trying to just get in and out.
Yeah, yeah. And don't go in there on a Friday night, right? Friday nights.
Oh, no.
I hear you on that. Give me two recent victories.
Oh, golly. Last one, our master plan, we just got it approved by our board committee, and it's awesome. And so it took a year to get it right, and we chewed on it a lot, but I'm real happy with that. And then our top ranking in the metrics last year regarding students employed, that
Dang
that was a
right.
big one.
Top of the list. At
Yeah.
8 a.m. on Saturday morning, I feel fill in the blank.
I'm energized. It's Saturday. And I can play in the yard. I can do what I want to do.
It's a great time, right?
Yeah, it
I
is.
love it. Best purchase under $100 that has had a great impact on your life.
Ballet flats. Um, if you're a president, you're on the move, and you need to wear sensible shoes.
Ballet
For me.
flats.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
about it?
I can scoot
Okay.
around. My campus is hilly and up
Yeah.
and down, and so I can get around with them. So
I know this is a long answer. We're looking for a short one for a big question. Why University of West Florida?
uh, but it's a great school in a great state with great beaches.
It is in a great area. I'm coming to visit. And if I do come to visit, or when I come to visit, where are you taking me in Pensacola?
Well, when we get tired of hanging out at the beach, I'd say go downtown. It's revitalized, really cool places to hang out, little shops, places to walk. And then we have the historic district, that's the universities. We are the oldest settlement in the country, uh, ahead of St. Augustine. So 1559 is when we started. So the historic area is beautiful.
Wow, I learned something new there. That's
Yep.
fantastic. What is one thing you're curious about?
Oh, so much. You know, I think how people adopt or adapt to change these days, especially. How are we going to make the changes that we need? Because the world's changing.
Yeah,
Uh, and how do we do that? So
I'm
I'm
with you on
always,
that. I'm with you on that. And there just seems to be so much negative out there. And leaders like you, I admire that are singing a different message, you know? Yeah.
it's time. And set aside all of our stubborn, preconceived ideas and say, we have a problem to be solved. How are we going to do it?
Put it in the war room
That's right. Need a war. Everybody needs a war.
One thing about Dr. Saunders that people do not know about.
I was the state typing champ my junior year of high school. And these were manual typewriters.
Doc, this is show number 209. That's the best answer. Did you get a trophy? What was
I
the
got a
prize?
trophy, and I don't know where it is. I guess in all the moves it got lost, but I was very proud of that.
Yeah. Did that translate to a laptop? Are you still a
No, I'm on a laptop now, and I'm hard on them. You know, when you learn on a manual typewriter, you bang those
yeah,
keys. You
the
can
tape?
always tell. And I also don't have any fingerprints. It's really hard to get fingerprinted. So
Because of the typewriter?
I don't know. I don't know. I guess I'd be a good safe cracker or something. And
Yeah, if they're looking to rob the bank, they're calling you.
no, no fingerprints.
Doc, this was great. This was a lot of fun. You're a breath of fresh air. What if people could get in touch with you if they wanted to learn more about you? Certainly, the university. What would be the best way?
Well, on Twitter, Dr. MD Saunders, um, at Facebook, but just uwf.edu/president.
That's
You can
you,
find
and
me.
you're there. Doc, do you have a quote? Are you a quote person? Can you end us with a
Oh,
quote?
yeah. I have a list of quotes.
Yes. Give me one that you like.
Oh,
Give us one that you
you
want
want
to
to do
end with.
one that I like a lot is General Hannibal, who drove the elephants over the Alps to
Okay.
take on Rome. He said, "We will find a way or make one."
Find a way or make a way. This is Dr. Martha Saunders, University of West Florida. You have a new fan here. We have a small place down there, Doc. So I got into in-state
Mom,
tuition. You might see some Marauders there in the next couple of years.
all right, please let me know.
they get to meet the president. It was an honor to have you on. We wish you the best at university. And if you're watching up here in New York, check them out. The Argonauts. So, Doc, you enjoy your holiday weekend, and my best to your family. It was an honor to have you on.
Thank you. My pleasure.
All right. You stay on the line a second, Doc. This was show number 209, everyone. We are going to sign off here. I want to thank Dr. Saunders and her team getting her on the program. And if I could help you in any way, I am at Andrew Murata 21 on Twitter. And keep surviving and thriving. Keep rolling. My blessings, my thoughts to Uvalde, Texas. And again, we as leaders, we as a nation, enough. Have a wonderful Memorial Day weekend, everyone. Signing off.